Short answer, a ship with at least 3 masts and all of them square rigged. Each mast is stepped in at least 3 segments, 1 segment for each square rigged sail, the standard segments being lower, top and topgallant. The lowest sail on the mast is the course sail. This being the main and largest sail on the mast is simply given the name of the mast, so mainsail for the main mast. The sails higher up would then be top mainsail and topgallant mainsail for the main mast. To be a full rigged ship, a ship would need to both have square rigs on all masts and have at least 3 segments on the mast. A ship with fore and aft rig or only 2 segments on one mast would thus not be regarded as fully rigged. Having one mast fore and aft rigged would make it a barque. The masts of a fully rigged ship would be as follows: foremast, mainmast and mizzenmast. The mainmast would be the tallest, the foremast the second tallest and the mizzenmast the third tallest. If a fourth mast was added, it would be the fourth tallest and be called the jiggermast. From bow to stern they would go as follows: foremast, mainmast, mizzenmast and jiggermast. Just the second largest mast would be at the front, followed by the tallest, and then they would become lower towards the stern. As said, these masts would be segmented in at least 3 segments, with a sail and yards for each segment. The main reason for this is to keep the sails in a size that could be handled. A single sail going all the way up would be difficult to handle. The masts of a fully rigged ship were very tall and the sails even segmented very large, so if a single sail were to be used, it would have been huge. Furthermore, such a sail would have to be more made for the ship rather than the standard sizes of the segments, and it would be much more difficult to lower individual sails depending on the wind, if they were not segmented. For the very large full-rigged ships with more than 3 segments, a royal mast was added to the top. On the royal mast could be added the royal sail, the skysail and the moonraker, in that order from bottom to top. A ship filled with all the mast segments and all the sails up to the moonraker would be very focused on speed and force, so it was not uncommon on clippers as speed was of the essence. The full set of sails would also be used on windjammers, but here more for the added force to carry the heavy cargo. Jibs came down from the foremast to the bowsprit, and staysails would be carried between the masts and would be named for the mast segment from where it was hoisted. Although full-rigged ships were defined by having square rigs on all masts, they would usually carry a gaff sail on the mizzenmast or jiggermast furthest astern below the topmast. This would be to add some fore and aft maneuverability to the ship. What set the full-rigged ship apart from a barque is that the barque only has a gaff sail on the mast, while the fully rigged ship has the gaff sail on the lower mast beneath a topsail and topgallant sail. The further up you go, the smaller the sails would become, so the royal mast would support both the royal sail, the skysail and the moonraker, with each sail becoming smaller as you went up. Despite this, each higher sail would add a more significant momentum than the size of the sail would suggest, as the very significant height would put these sails in increasingly powerful winds, as they would be further away from the resistance imparted by the ocean surface. Thus, a full-rigged ship equipped all the way up to the moonraker would gain significant momentum. For a period until the late 19th century, full-rigged ships could also be equipped with studding sails. These are sails equipped in extension out to either side of the square rig. They would be hoisted on booms attached to the yards of the main sail. This would greatly increase the area of sail and would be used to gain momentum in fair weather. They came into use in the mid-17th century and fell out of use due to the economy of smaller crews and the risk of damage if the wind suddenly became stronger. When a full-rigged ship needed to come to a halt, it would be done by orienting the sails of the foremast perpendicular to the sails of the mainmast, which would cancel each other out. This made it possible to stop and start faster as the sails would not be lowered. Only when running downwind was this not an option. The great advantage of the fully rigged ship was that it came about at a time when the wind and current patterns were so well known that they could sail most of their route with the wind astern. This made it possible to fully utilize the square rig at its optimum. Thus, the clippers sailing on the clipper route would most often be fully rigged ships, as this corresponded with the winds for most of the route. The same would be the case for the windjammers on the same routes, using the wind to propel their huge weight. The late fully rigged ships would, despite competing with steamships and later engine ships, have engines on board, first to run the mechanical rigging, reducing the need for crew, and later as auxiliary propulsion. So the fully rigged ship lasted to compete with engine ships and was the furthest commercial development of sail plans.